In a house filled with whispers, champagne, and secrets, one woman lights the match that burns it all down. This is Hedda, writer-director Nia DaCosta's bold, sensuous, and devastating reimagining of Henrik Ibsen's classic Hedda Gabler. Set in the opulent but decaying world of 1950s England, Hedda, 2025, is part psychological thriller, part period melodrama, and part slow-motion explosion. One that asks, what happens when a woman with everything realizes she still has nothing at all? The movie begins not with a party, but with a key. Around Hedda Gabler's neck hangs a small silver key, the key to her late father's gun case. Immediately, DaCosta tells us this story isn't about subtlety. As Chekhov once said, if you show a gun in the first act, it must go off by the last. And Hedda, played by the magnetic Tessa Thompson, is that gun, cold, beautiful, and ready to fire. We first see her being questioned by the police. A gun has gone off the night before. Someone is dead. But Hedda, in her perfectly pressed satin dress, doesn't seem the least bit concerned. She smirks. She deflects. She already knows how this story ends. From there, we flash back to the night everything went wrong. The setting is a sprawling countryside estate that looks like something out of Downton Abbey, if Downton Abbey had a body count. This manor isn't just Hedda's new home, it's her gilded cage. She's recently married George Tesman, played by Tom Bateman, a well-meaning academic with all the charisma of a damp handkerchief. George loves her in his quiet, bumbling way, but Hedda doesn't love him, not even close. What she loves is what George represents: wealth, safety, respectability. The problem? All of it is built on debt. George has mortgaged himself to the bone to give Hedda the life she demanded. And so tonight's party isn't just for pleasure, it's for survival. George must impress Professor Greenwood, who holds the key to his future and their financial salvation with a prestigious university position. Hedda, ever the performer, pretends to play the perfect wife, but inside she's bored out of her mind, until she learns that one of the guests is someone from her past, someone she never quite let go. Enter Eileen Lövborg, played with fierce brilliance by Nina Haas. In Ibsen's original, Eilert Lövborg was a man, but DaCosta flips the script, turning him into Eileen, Hedda's former lover. Eileen is a writer, a scholar, and Hedda's mirror image, everything Hedda could have been if she'd chosen freedom over comfort. She's there with her new partner, Thea, who also happens to be George's friend. Together, they've just published a provocative book that challenges society's norms, especially about sexuality and power. For Hedda, this is gasoline on an already burning fire. Seeing Eileen again floods her with rage, desire, and jealousy. Eileen represents a life Hedda could never have, passionate, liberated, and unapologetically queer. And now, to make things worse, Eileen is also competing with George for that same professorship. As the night unfolds, DaCosta transforms the party into a slow-motion implosion. The champagne flows, the jazz swells, and beneath the polite laughter, the guests begin to unravel. Hedda, always the puppeteer, moves from group to group like a queen bee surveying her hive. She drops sly comments, provokes old wounds, and sets her traps with a smile that never quite reaches her eyes. The lighting shifts from gold to shadowy blue. The camera lingers on her hands, playing with her father's pistols. You can feel it. This house is a ticking bomb. Judge Brack, a so-called family friend, flirts with her openly, mistaking her boredom for consent. But Hedda doesn't want affection. She wants control. And the easiest way to feel in control is to destroy the people who remind her that she isn't. When Eileen proudly shows off her new manuscript, her life's work, her redemption, Hedda smiles sweetly and plots its ruin. She coaxes Eileen into drinking again, whispering doubts in her ear, tempting her to fall back into the chaos she fought so hard to escape. She resists, at first, but Hedda knows all her weaknesses. In a heartbreaking moment of manipulation, she gets her old lover drunk, steals the manuscript, and later burns it in the fireplace. The scene is stunning. Flames flicker across Hedda's face as George kneels beside her, confused, and she whispers, "Do that thing with your mouth." It's sensual, cruel, and symbolic all at once, the perfect encapsulation of Hedda's twisted sense of empowerment. She destroys what she cannot control. But every manipulator eventually loses control. As the night wears on, gossip spreads, emotions fray, and the boundaries between love and hate blur. Eileen realizes what Hedda has done. Thea breaks down. George, humiliated and heartbroken, confronts his wife. The camera becomes handheld now, shaky, claustrophobic, as if the entire house itself is spinning. The chandeliers tremble, the music distorts. Hedda's face, once perfectly composed, now cracks. She's surrounded by the wreckage of her own making, and yet she feels nothing. Because that's the truth of Hedda Gabler. She doesn't want love or peace. She wants meaning. And if she can't find it, she'll settle for destruction. We return to where we started, the gun. In her father's study, surrounded by memories of power and war, Hedda takes the weapon from its case. DaCosta's direction is deliberate. Every sound echoes. Every breath feels final. The camera lingers on her face, calm, almost serene. For once, she's in control of something absolute, her ending. And then, the shot. A blinding flash, a scream from the other room, and silence. In Ibsen's original play, Hedda's suicide is an act of both defiance and despair, a refusal to be caged any longer. DaCosta keeps that spirit alive, what reframes it through a modern lens. Here, Hedda's death isn't just about patriarchy or social constraint, it's about identity. A woman who's lived her entire life performing roles others have written for her. Daughter, wife, hostess, lover. In death, she finally authors her own ending. The house stands still. Smoke rises. The party guests, frozen in disbelief, are forced to confront the wreckage of what they helped create. And in that stillness, DaCosta delivers her final message. When the world denies a woman the right to live as herself, she will burn it and herself to ash. Hedda 2025 is more than an adaptation. It's a resurrection. By giving Ibsen's tragedy new gender politics, racial subtext, and psychological nuance, Nia DaCosta turns a century-old play into something urgent and modern. Tessa Thompson's performance is magnetic, all elegance and venom. Nina Hoss brings the heartbreak. Helder Gudnadottir's haunting score fills every silence with tension, and together they craft a film that's as beautiful as it is brutal, a story about desire, control, and the slow suffocation of a woman who refused to stay silent. Because in Hedda, silence is the real weapon, and when Hedda finally speaks, the world goes quiet. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know, did you see Hedda as a villain or as a victim of her time?